I want to give a behind the scenes look at Naked Risk. What are the tools? What does the studio look like, etc.? And what is the strategy? How do I tactically produce content? So number one is the studio. Right now, it's a mobile studio. I have a couple of lights. I've got a wireless microphone attached to a smartphone. I've actually used 4 different cameras in total. I've sat on a sofa. I've sat in a chair. I stand. I've tried a lot of different things. And for the foreseeable future, I'm still going to play with things. I'm trying to dial that in. Ultimately, I would love to get rid of the green screen and do something a little more authentic. But as of right now, this is how it's going to be. The second thing that's important, actually the most important part, is systematizing everything. I didn't realize that creating content would require so much effort. Usually, when I come up with ideas, I'm at a coffee shop or I'm walking outside. It's never in a convenient place. And so I have note-taking on my phone. When an idea comes to my head, I write it down instantly. And so that's just the approach I've used. But then one of the most important tools, I have 2 of them actually, 3, come to think of it. So I have 3 tools that I use extensively. One is Notion. Notion is for me, it's been a project management tool. It's been a task management tool. I use it to build content. So I've mapped out what is the content I'm going to use. When I write out the scripts for videos or the LinkedIn posts, whatever the case is, I write it all out on Notion. I have statuses that say things like building out content or scheduled to publish. So if I go to LinkedIn and I schedule something to publish 3 days from now, I have it noted in Notion. And then there's a calendar in Notion that I can use to actually see a map of what's happening throughout the month. So there's an entire story being built. So Notion, phenomenal tool. I use it extensively. Number 2 is Canva. Canva is more powerful than I thought from the start. I originally got it so that I could design some graphics. I do like creative things. I enjoy being creative. So Canva was an easy way to do it. I don't have to be super knowledgeable of Adobe products. I can just use Canva. Fun fact, Canva even allows for motion graphics. So there are a lot of things Canva can do that I did not realize from the start. And so I use it pretty extensively for the thumbnails on video clips. I use it to make some motion graphics. Those will be coming soon in some of the video content. What else? Logos for the Naked Risk entity, my underlying LLC. Really have been using it for a lot of that. And then the third is a product called Demo Creator by a company, Wondershare. So I've used Wondershare products in the past. I think the products were called, eDraw, and there was another one. Anyway, I've used them for mind maps before. I've used them for network drawing. There's a cheaper alternative to Visio and Lucidchart. But they've got a product called Demo Creator. And more recently, I learned about a product called Filmora, which I think will actually provide me more of what I want. But to date, all the videos I've published have been built out of Demo Creator. And I do use there's a pro subscription, I forget what it's called, but allows you to get, not pro, but premium. It allows you to get premium content. So the wallpapers, the things I use, the graphics, I use the premium content. And then the same with Canva. So I do a lot of graphics with Canva. So I'll build a video background. So graffiti is often in the background of my videos for Naked Risk. So I'll make the background using Canva, export it out, and then I'll import it into Demo Creator. So those are 3 tools I use pretty extensively. The other one I use, and this is a controversial one in the content creation space, but I do use AI tools, specifically Copilot, and over recent weeks, I've shifted to Gemini. So I produce all of the content from the ground. So there is nothing that's published. Even if AI was used to tweak things, nothing gets published that I didn't just randomly come up with. So I'm coming up with the content. I may use Gemini or Copilot to come up with ideas. I might jump in there and I'll say, I'm a CISO or I'm presenting to CISOs, give me 25 topics to talk about. I'll get 25 topics and I'll hate 23 of them. But then there's one where I'm like, wait, I had not thought about that. I may know a lot about that subject. So all I'll do is I'll take the topic and then I'll just write about that topic. Then I turn around, the AI tools know how the Naked Risk branding looks. So I try and train it on here's how Naked Risk sounds. and then here's what I'm after. And so then I'll run my scripts through AI to say, hey, I need to make sure that this audience is hit, or I need to make sure that it adds a punch, or I need to be a little more edgy. Sometimes I'll post a controversial topic or a polarizing opinion on something and I need it to really pack a punch. I do use AI to come up with some of that, but the speed of delivery is, it's exponentially faster. I can have all these ideas in my head. Sometimes it's hard to get it crafted well on paper, which is where the time-consuming part is. So AI tools help do that. And then I go back through and I reread things and make sure, all right, does this actually sound like something I would say? And a lot of times it doesn't. I can tell when it feels too much AI. The easy one is, I don't know what they call it, those elongated hyphens. Nobody does that. AI tends to, or at least Copilot, sometimes will put capital letters. It'll put a preposition at the beginning of a sentence. That's something I've noticed too. So I don't typically write with prepositions at the beginning of a sentence, but I have started to do that a little more intentionally. But anyway, I do use AI tools. So there are a few other little things that I use, virtual mailbox for a business address. There's some things I have set up, but the reality is Notion, Canva, and then Demo Creator, soon to be Filmora from Wondershare. Those are really the tools that I use. Yeah, pretty much that. And maybe at some point I will share what the content actually looks like when you're inside of one of those tools.